For thousands of years, the spotted owl and the barred owl occupied separate ranges in North America. They were isolated geographically and reproductively. The spotted owl tucked into its old-growth conifers in the west, and the barred owl stayed in its deciduous haunts in the east. Then, suddenly, in a few decades, the barred owl moved across the continent into the spotted owl's range, competing for food and nesting cavities, just as loggers ripped through its old-growth cathedrals and joked at the idea of saving owls at the expense of jobs and profits. Conservationists struggle with a rescue plan for the spotted owl. One approach? Shoot the barred owls. So, we now have government galoots with smoke poles so employed. Attitudes shift, but at the moment, the government is willing to preserve enough of the remaining old-growth conifers to keep the spotted owl's foot in the door. But, government biologists argue, those groves are now occupied by the larger and more aggressive barred owl. Here's how I think we got into this dilemma. It's a personal hypothesis, and if you have a better explanation, please comment. After the Wisconsin ice retreated, much of North America reforested. The barred owl is a forest bird, and it thrived across the whole continent. Humans, new arrivals from Asia, developed a taste for a grazer called bison. The bison needed grass, and the humans knew how to make it grow, light fires to push back the forests, suppress the force of woody succession. Early Europeans recorded the natives burning exuberantly, lighting fires everywhere they went. In 1491, there were grasslands and bison and people across the continent. The programmatic burning by humans over millennia had created a grassland barrier between the eastern deciduous forests and the western conifers. This grassland barrier, I hypothesize, isolated barred owls in the east from those in the west. Reproductively isolated, the two populations drifted into separate species, as isolated populations do. Then, European invaders released diseases which wiped out most of the human natives, and the mechanism which had maintained the grasslands collapsed. Sudden woody succession reforested a lot of the grasslands, and Europeans plowed up much of the rest, creating a forested corridor to connect the deciduous east with the spotted owl's western conifers. In a wink, 1950s to 1990s, the barred owl found its way across the continent into the spotted owl's range. The two are so closely related that they hybridize, and hybridizing is one pathway to extinction. Plus, the barred owl holds several advantages like size, aggressiveness, and a more flexible diet. Here, an Appalachian barred owl catches crayfish in a mountain stream, a food item outside the spotted owl's preferences. If the grassland barrier concept is valid, humans created the spotted owl, and we are now in the process of wiping it out. Government employees shoot thousands of barred owls every year to give the spotted owls a chance to breed. But this is clearly not a long-term solution. In the view of some, it is not a solution at all, just a timber industry diversion to blame declining spotted owls on something other than raping the old-growth forests. Eventually, the owls are going to have to work it out without benefit of smoke poles.